Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I am Ryan Clifton Bolin. Thank you all for joining me. I am a firm supporter of free speech. I made that statement in the previous video, and I'm making it here now that I am, once again, a firm supporter of free speech. Now, of course, I'm not talking about standing in the middle of the street and screaming fire or running into a movie theater and saying the same thing, screaming fire when there's no fire. Clearly, that is not what it means by free speech. Okay, here in the city of Cleveland, years ago, back I believe in the early 90s, our former mayor, who I believe was a Democrat, as most of the mayors in the city of Cleveland were, if not all, he allowed the KKK, it was a KKK had a rally back in those days. And oh, by the way, the mayor, he was black, by the way. And he, excuse me, allowed the KKK to have a rally downtown, okay? And everything was blocked off to protect the KKK in their right for free speech. Now, I heard some of the things that the KKK members were saying while they were standing on the platform giving their opinions. And many of the words that they were saying were very emotion-driven and very insightful. It seemed like they were designed to incite anger and angst and anxiety in the hearts and minds of those who were standing on the outside listening. I wasn't there, but I saw it on TV and saw it on the news clips. So could you say that's that's free speech? One could argue it is. But that was allowed by a Democratic mayor, a black Democratic mayor. So I'm not giving you my opinion on that. That's a fact, historical established fact. So coming back to the idea of free speech, I believe that we should all be allowed to express what we believe as often as we want to. We can agree to disagree. We can agree. We can disagree. We can agree to disagree. That's our right as American citizens. However, the governor of the state of New York believes that somehow hate speech has something to do with the young man in Buffalo who slaughtered 10 people. So let's see what she has to say here. And that she's going to create, before we get into this, she's going to create or made a proposal to create a police unit that would combat hate speech. So let's get into this article. And it reads, New York Governor Kathy Hochul announces police unit to combat hate speech. New York Governor Kathy Hochul on Wednesday announced plans to create a police unit designed to, in part, combat hate speech in the wake of the tragic shooting in Buffalo, promising to, quote, confront this epidemic head on. We're proposing a comprehensive plan to combat domestic terrorism, strengthen state gun laws, and investigate social media platforms promoting violent extreme acts, Hochul announced Wednesday. Forgive me for that, people. I get tongue-tied because I have a lisp, so as you can tell. I'm not going to read all this article, but I just want to look at this one portion right. I'm going to leave a description of the article. I'm going to leave this article in the description box below, and you can go and look and read the rest of it on your own time. I'll leave a link to it in the article, the description box below. But I just want to look at this statement she made. We're proposing a comprehensive plan to combat domestic terrorism, strengthen state gun laws, and investigate social media platforms promoting this violent extremism that happened Wednesday. Now, to me, I feel that that's really something. I think there's something nefarious going on there, because she says we're proposing a comprehensive plan to combat domestic terrorism, strengthen state gun laws. Let's deal with the strengthen state gun laws. From what I understand, New York has some of the strictest gun laws in the country. So do you believe that making it even more strict to have guns is going to combat this kind of extreme behavior? It sounds like to me that this individual New York governor, being another progressive Democrat, another radical Democrat, is trying to take control of guns, just using this as the premise to take guns, to control guns. It's the same thing. It always seems to be the same method, the same ideology. Let's find a reason to take guns from people. Let's use this as an excuse to come up with more gun control laws. I said this in the previous video. You can do that all day. You're not going to stop people from wanting to kill as many people as they want to kill. Look at 9/11. Did they have guns? They did not have guns. They did not have guns. They had a plane and they had some box cutters, I believe that one source says, but they didn't have guns. And they killed over what? I think 2,000, 3,000 people. Way more than any guns could possibly do. So do you think that making even stricter gun laws is going to deal with this situation that we have here? No. The problem is people's heart. They're saying that old saying, guns don't kill people, people kill people. That's a cliche saying. No doubt. That is a cliche saying. Sometimes people get here, oh man, it's the same old thing. People don't kill people, guns don't kill people, people kill people. But it's a factual saying. There's no need to change that saying because it's true. People kill people. People's hearts and their dark minds is what lead to killing. Because when you remove the guns or create gun laws that are even more strenuous and strict, it's still not going to prevent people from committing horrible acts of violence. We had an incident where a young man, black man, ran, I forget which city or state this happened, but this was some months ago, ran into a crowd of people, and quite a significant number of those people were white. And I think he killed some people. I think it was during a Christmas parade or Thanksgiving parade or something. I cannot remember exactly what the particular incident was or the city. But this was months ago, and the guy that did it was a black guy. And a significant number of the people that he hit were white. What could that be considered to be an extreme situation? Could that be considered to be domestic terrorism? I don't think the mainstream leftist media mentioned it that way. Did he do it with a gun? Of course he didn't. He used the car to do it. Why? Because his heart and mind was dark. Let's go on. In the wake of the racist act of terror in Buffalo, here we go, New York will lead the charge to confront this epidemic head on, she added. And she goes on to, I'll read a little bit more here. Let's see. She says, one of the governor's executive orders instructs the state police to establish a, quote, dedicated unit within the New York State Intelligence Center to track domestic extreme acts and increase social media monitoring at the Intelligence Center. The unit will be responsible for developing investigative leads based on social media analysts focused on radical extreme activities, motivated threats by identifying online locations and activities that facilitate radicalization and promote violent extreme acts, it reads in part. Now here, once again, to me, is just another excuse for the federal government to impede more and more into the private lives of the citizens. Okay, because it says social media analysts focusing on radical extremist activities, motivating threats by identifying online locations. I find this so interesting because I think I mentioned this in a previous video that many, many decades ago, back in the 60s, you had far left radical. Now, when I say far left radical, I'm talking about the far left radical. I'm not talking about regular Democrats. I'm talking about the far left radicals who are willing and have been known to bomb people and kill people. One of them was a man by the name of Bill Ayers. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. But he was one of the leaders and founders of an extremist leftist radical group known as the Weather Underground in the 1960s. They were intense communists who believed that the destruction of America needed to be enacted. And they bombed, I believe, several buildings. These were actual terrorist threats created by extreme leftist radical groups. Right now, this man, I believe he was tried, but I don't think he did any time. Right now, he is a professor at one of the university. I think it's Columbia University. He is a professor. And at this point, he's not repentant of what he did. So we have an actual terrorist from the left, far left, as a professor in a prestigious university. So you tell me why it's okay for these individuals to be professors in our school. I'm not giving you my opinion. Look that up. That's factual. It's okay for these people to be professors in our schools, teaching this kind of rhetoric and worldview to young, impressionable minds. It's okay for them to be teaching this kind of stuff in our colleges and universities. But according to one source, states that conservatives and Christians are on the FBI's watch list. Why? Because they might be potential terrorists. Now tell me how that makes sense. We have actual terrorists in the country, Black Lives Matter and Antifa, known for what they have known for their acts of terrorism in 2020. That cannot be denied. We have actual terrorists in the country, but yet the FBI has on their terrorist list Christians and conservatives who may be possible terrorists. Tell me how that makes sense. Explain to me how that makes sense. I'll tell you why it's like that. Because Christians, or a significant number of Christians, and conservatives, or a significant number of conservatives, their worldview opposes the communist worldview. And any worldview that opposes the communist worldview that have infiltrated our country and have been a part of our government, a part of our entertainment industry, a part of our school systems for decades, any worldview that opposes that, they have to get rid of them. That's why. I know that's an extreme statement, but I've been studying it for quite some time. So I'm not going to go into the details about that. You need to watch some of my previous videos, and I'll give you all the details in those previous videos. I'm just summarizing right now the craziness that this lady is talking about here. Okay? Let's read on. Now, here is something that the editor says in Breitbart, which I agree with. The issue, however, is the debate over what individuals consider hate speech, triggering fears of a slippery slope, given the fact that some radical leftist activists, for example, consider misgendering someone as a fundamentally hateful act. And I'm going to stop right there. You can read the rest of that article in the description box below. So she's connecting hate speech somehow with this young man's actions. I think maybe the reason for that is because according to the manifesto that he supposedly wrote, which is over like 100 pages, it states some hateful things in there towards blacks and so forth. So I guess she says that this is her way of combating hate speech. But I believe in my heart, based on my own studies for the past few years and my observations, that that's not what that's about. I believe it's going to be about anyone who threatens their worldview. That's what that's all about. Now, going back to, in my opinion, this hate speech situation, about her talking about hate speech and so forth. So if as a Christian, as an ordained minister, which is what I am, I believe that fornication is a sin, and I believe that homosexuality is a sin according to the scripture. Both the Old and New Testament teach that. But some people consider that to be hate speech. See, the issue is, what do you deem to be hate speech? Any belief system that disagrees with your belief system or your worldview, that's what they consider to be hate speech. Any speech or any opinion that disagrees or opposes their radical leftist viewpoint is deemed hate speech. Now, I know people don't like this, and I know this is controversial to a lot of people, but that's what I believe. And I stand on that belief. I know it in my gut. I've studied it. And like I said before in the closing of this video, if you want greater details on that, I got over 200 something videos now. You can look at those past videos and find out all the details about this. Okay. And I'll cite all the different communist infiltrators of our country. I cite all of that. Okay. So you can go on all those other videos to find that out. But I think that this is just, in my summation, I think that this is just another attempt of this governor and progressive Democrats to use this incident as the foundation to try to take more rights from the American people, take away their guns and curtail their free speech. That's how the communists always did in the old countries. And that's what they're doing here in America and in the West. But they're doing it through stealth and deception. They're doing it through permeation, a little bit at a time. Next thing you know, you wake up, you don't have any freedom of speech, regardless of whether you're on the left or the right. You can't say anything because the true power brokers have gotten complete control. And anyone that comes against their worldview, you either going to jail or you're going to one of their concentration camps, which many researchers believe is all over this country. There may be another video. But that's what I wanted to say about that. What do you guys think about this? Leave your comments, think about this article, and think about this state governor's proposal to make this police unit. Leave your comments in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button. Share this video and subscribe. God bless you all, and see you again on another Black Conservative with Ryan Bowling.